Hey there, third graders. Thanks for joining me again. I'm looking forward to kicking off with a new article today. Last week, we learned about natural resources, renewable and non-renewable, and a little bit about protecting them. This week, we'll be discussing recycling. Remember our two guiding questions for our unit of study? Keep these in mind today as we read our new article. Why are the world's freshwater sources threatened? And how do people persuade others to take action to contribute to a better world? Let's make sure you have everything you need for today's lesson. First, make sure you have a copy of the text, ProCon, Should We Stop Recycling Our Trash? It's on page 75 of your ELA packet. You'll also need a copy of Lesson 25 and the Lesson 25 note catcher on pages 78 and 79 of your ELA packet. And of course, you're going to need a pencil. Pause the video here and make sure you have all the materials you need for today's lesson. Today's learning target is, I can determine the main idea and supporting details of a text. Take a moment and think about what main idea and supporting details are. A main idea is something big the author wants you to take away from the text. And supporting details are pieces of information from the text that help you understand that main idea. First, we're going to read ProCon, Should We Stop Recycling Our Trash? This text is actually broken down into two separate smaller articles with different points of view around the question in the title, Should We Stop Recycling Our Trash? The first article is the pro article, and the author agrees that we should stop recycling our trash. The second article is the con article, and that author disagrees that we should stop recycling our trash. Although we'll be reading both parts of the text, the pro and the con article, we'll be focusing on the main idea and supporting details of the pro article today, and that's the first one. All right, so I'd like you to listen and follow along as I read the text. Pro-con, should we stop recycling our trash? Let's take a look at that first image right there. Adonis Herring sorts cans and bottles at Capital Redemption Center on September 22nd, 2015 in Albany, New York. The center offers refunds on empty beverage containers before they're transported to distributors and recycled. And now we're going to start by reading that pro article. Pro, it costs too much money to recycle. You may want to save the planet. The best way to help is to make sure your garbage is buried in a giant garbage dump called a landfill. They have plenty of room for garbage. People talk about reduce, reuse, recycle. What they mean is, first, do not use more than you need. Second, use things more than once. Finally, you should recycle. It sounds like a good idea. There is a problem though. Recycling costs too much money. Paper and plastic and glass. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is part of the government. It is in charge of protecting the environment. The EPA says it makes sense to recycle only some garbage. In fact, it says only about 1/3 of all garbage should be recycled. Recycling any more costs too much, the EPA says. Recycling paper is expensive. Paper is made out of trees. Paper companies pay for the trees they use. Then, new trees have to be planted. It costs money. Yet, making new paper is still cheaper than recycling it. Plastic is another problem. Plastic is made out of oil. The price of oil has gotten much cheaper. Now, it costs less money to make a new plastic container than recycle an old one. Glass is even worse. The old glass has to be collected by truck. Recycling trucks cause pollution. Melting it down to make recycled glass causes pollution too. Recycling glass is more expensive than making it from scratch. New glass is made mainly from sand, and there's plenty of that. Recycling has good parts and bad parts. Government officials should think about both. Then, they should end programs that waste money and hurt the environment. Here's a test. Will anyone pay you to recycle? If it made money, companies would be offering you money for your trash. Do not believe what you are told about recycling. It is probably just a bunch of garbage. All right, and now we're going to start the second article, which is the con article. Con, recycling is still the way to go. We Americans use a lot of stuff. We also throw out a lot. We dump far more trash than we need. The trash gets dumped into giant landfills. Americans make twice as much trash as people in Europe. Since 1960, we have thrown out more and more garbage. Since that year, the amount has gone up 3 times. In 2013, we threw out more than 508 billion pounds. Each person threw out 4.4 pounds every day. We have gotten a lot better at handling garbage. People began recycling more about 30 years ago. Now, we in America recycle about 1/3 of what we use. We can do better. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is a government department. It reports that we recycle many batteries, paper, and cans. Yet we do not recycle as much of other things. We should recycle more cell phones and computers. We should also recycle more glass and plastic bottles and jars. We should be able to do much better than this. But why are we not? Some people just do not want to do it or think it is hard. Some states say people have to recycle. They have laws about this, but people do not really follow the laws. Some states and cities do much better. They take recycling seriously. One of those cities is Seattle, Washington. In Seattle, people pay to throw out garbage. The more garbage they throw out, the more they pay. It works. Half of Seattle recycles. Some people see it differently. They argue that recycling costs too much money. Should we recycle only if it is cheap enough? Doing that sends the wrong message. Some experts say companies should not waste stuff when things are being made. When the companies make things, they should be careful not to use extra stuff. Then, they do not have to throw out as much. An important change is starting. This change will cut down on garbage and pollution from when things are made until they are thrown away. It will also get people to change what they use and throw out. That is the way to go. All right. So remember that text has 2 different parts, a pro article and a con article. Pro means for and con means against. The question the authors of the 2 articles were sharing their point of view about was, should we stop recycling our trash? I'd like you to think about the pro article. Think about the main idea and 2 to 3 supporting details. Go ahead and pause the video here while you think. Now it's time to talk about the pro article with a family member, caregiver, or friend. Discuss these 2 questions. What is the main idea of the pro article, and how do you know? Make sure to use your evidence. And what are 2 to 3 supporting details? Go ahead and pause here and have your discussion. So you've read, you've thought, you've talked, and now it's time to write. Using the Lesson 25 note catcher on page 79 of your ELA packet, write the main idea of the pro article in that top box, and then 2 to 3 supporting details below that in those 3 boxes. And those supporting details are the ones that really helped you understand the main idea. All right, go ahead and pause here while you complete your writing task. All right, nice job writing about that pro article and thinking about how the author thinks that recycling costs too much money. It's time for us to wrap up this lesson. Make sure you share your writing with someone and tell them why you chose to write what you did. Try and share how you found the main idea. Also, please remember to spend 20 minutes reading with a family member, caregiver, or friend. Let's think back about our learning target for today. I can determine the main idea and supporting details of a text. Take a few moments and think about whether you met this learning target today. And you'll have another chance to work with this target tomorrow with the con portion of the article. I also want you to work on your fluency practice. Use a timer or count to 60 and read the passage for 1 minute. Count the words you read and write the number at the top of your article. We'll come back to this number later in the week so you can see how your fluency's improved. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for joining in, learning with me, and I'll see you again tomorrow. We'll be finding the main idea and supporting details of that con article. All right, bye-bye.